Today, we're here to talk about reparations, and we're going to put the influence of reparations from the colonial aspect on why we would even need that in our community anyway. It's been a very big topic in the last few months here. Reparations, reparations, reparations. Do we need it? Is it something that should be mandatory for people who are descendants of slaves? Is it going to cure our society in a financial way when it comes to bridging the gap between the minorities and the majority? There are different views. The prospect of reparations to be. Is there an amount? Is there a cause? Is there some sort of financial impact that's going to happen to our economy here in the United States of America if we give African Americans reparations for the atrocities of slavery, the atrocities of the past history of Blacks in America coming through the civil rights movement and to where we are today? It's obvious to everyone also that race relations in America hasn't really developed to where we expected it to be in 2023. My stance is that reparations could be, let's say, levied out in grants for, let's say, education, healthcare, insurances. Instead of giving someone or any person a large sum of money and saying, go do with it what you wish, I would rather, and from the people that I've spoken to in a lot of ways, would rather that those funds and that money be given to bridge the gap when it comes to education, bridge the gap when it comes to home ownership, bridging the gap when it comes to health care, or bridging the gap when it comes to just overall having a savings account or having a 401k or having a pension when you get to that retirement age. The reason why we're also bringing the colonial aspect in it is I want to know, and I'm trying to decipher, are we owed this by the people who brought us to these territories from Africa? We know, like the royal family in England and in other jurisdictions, they continue to flourish financially. They continue to own estates all over Britain and wherever else there is in Europe, and they're going to continue to do so. We don't see anything stopping there. Personally, the need for reparations is below for me than the need for us to move past the so-called royal family. I'm going to put this in a more judicious, in a more, in a way that that would be politically correct to everyone. But let's be real. What does the royal family in England do for our society these days? Or is it more that what are we doing for the royal family to keep them relevant, to keep them wealthy? Is that something that we need to do? Is that something that we have to continue? It's been centuries that given our taxes, our sweat and tears to a family that I don't see in any way is giving back to its constituents. We're continue to be known as the common people, continue to be known as the lower man, the third world. It's something that we have to discuss. It's something that we have to create, or actually we need to find a solution. I have to bypass all the glitz and the glamour of royal weddings and royal birthdays and queens and kings' birthdays. I'm more in tune with the fact now of the suffering, continued suffering of people of color, not just me being a Black Caribbean person who has migrated to this region and see the struggle of African Americans when it comes to education and financial resources. Is it something we're supposed to get past now? That's a question that I would like answered. You're listening to the Immigrant Podcast. I'm your host, Nikolai Hill. We're brought to you today by NBNI. That's nothing but Net International, mother agency for talent and artists as well. Just to welcome back into the conversation, we're talking about reparations. We're talking about the royal family. And we're talking about other things in the news as well. This week, in fact, there was a squabble going on with Ron DeSantis, who's a representative in Florida. Does this guy deserve our allegiance? If someone is telling you that something that we knew happened, slavery, and it was a negative thing to our ancestors, hence why the word reparations, we're talking about it now. If the guy is telling us now that that was beneficial to African Americans, an imbalance here. The education system in every state in America is literally different. Aren't we hoping for some sort of unilateral education throughout the entire country? Does it make sense to be teaching kids one thing in Florida, teaching them something in New York? Should we more bridge the gap and try to educate the truth for our young people? The use of telling, human beings lies. We want to know the truth. The truth is that slavery happened, Ron DeSantis. The truth is that there was a lot of suffering, castration, degradation, segregation, and you can't hide these things. It's just facts. What you want us to teach our kids is a lie. I think that the need for a royal family and a crown would also be a lie. The crown and the King Charles, or whatever his name is to be appointed here, is strictly a figurehead. Why? We know that because Great Britain has a prime minister. The European countries have a union. So there's no one person that's above everybody else that needs to sign off on something else. We're going backwards here. What we're trying to accomplish is equal opportunities for everyone when it comes to it. We want Ron DeSantis understands that we have to have equal education for everyone. An education that speaks the truth, gives people opportunities. What we are hoping for, not the crown, the royal family, that somehow they will understand that this planet has no need for you. You're a figurehead operation. We have to move past that to reason. I mean, does he have a job? There's no real function of King Charles and anybody in that family. It's time for us to move